everyone, welcome back to the channel! Today we're exploring the intriguing and often mysterious fate of unclaimed dragons. Specifically what happens to dragons when their riders die, how they react to potential new riders, and how they manage living independently. If you're a fan of the Game of Thrones universe, you're going to love this deep dive. So grab your dragon eggs and let's get into it. First off, let's talk about what happens to dragons when their riders die. Dragons and their riders share a unique and deep bond, often described as almost telepathic. This connection is powerful, but it also means that the loss of a rider can be a traumatic experience for the dragon. When a rider dies, dragons often become unpredictable and can even turn wild. The death of their rider leaves them without guidance and direction, which can lead to erratic behavior. A great example of this can be seen with Vhagar, who was one of the most powerful dragons in Westeros. Originally written by Visenya Targaryen, Vhagar had numerous riders over her long life. After the death of her last rider, Laena Velaryon Vhagar became unclaimed and wild until Prince Aemond Targaryen made his bold attempt to claim her. This event is a perfect illustration of the unpredictable nature of unclaimed dragons and the bravery required to bond with them. Aemond's claiming of Vhagar wasn't an easy feat. He had to demonstrate immense courage and determination to gain her acceptance. Aemond approached Vhagar and spoke to her in High Valyrian, showing no fear despite the dragon's size and power. This daring act was successful, and Aemond was able to bond with Vhagar and gained one of the most formidable dragons in the realm. This bond played a crucial role during the Dance of the Dragons, which highlights the significance of claiming an unclaimed dragon. Unclaimed dragons often return to a more feral state, relying on their instincts rather than the commands of a rider. They might fly back to familiar territories or places where they feel safe. In Westeros, Dragonstone and the Dragonmont have historically been such refuges. These locations provide a sense of comfort and familiarity for these majestic creatures. So, what happens when a potential new rider comes into the picture? Dragons are intelligent beings, and they can be very selective about accepting a new rider. The process of bonding with a new rider, known as claiming, is neither simple nor guaranteed. It requires a combination of bravery, strength, and a certain affinity that can almost seem mystical. A famous instance of this process is when Daenerys Targaryen bonded with Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. Although she didn't initially hatch them, her Targaryen blood and strong will played a crucial role in her ability to claim them. Targaryens have an innate connection with dragons, thanks to their Valyrian ancestry, which often makes them more successful at claiming unbonded dragons. However, not all attempts to claim a dragon end successfully. During the Dance of the Dragons, many tried and failed to claim wild dragons. For instance, Prince Joffrey Velaryon attempted to ride the wild dragon Syrax, but ended up falling to his death. This highlights the dangers and difficulties involved in claiming a dragon that has lost its rider. When a dragon does accept a new rider, the bond that forms can be just as strong as the original one. The new rider must demonstrate their worthiness and establish trust with the dragon. This process often involves spending considerable time with the dragon, feeding it, and proving their bravery. The new rider's success depends on their ability to communicate with the dragon and earn its respect. Now let's discuss how dragons fare when living independently without a rider. Dragons are capable of surviving on their own, and in the wild, they can become even more dangerous. They hunt for their food, which usually includes large animals such as deer, sheep, and even horses. Wild dragons are known to establish territories, which they fiercely defend against any intruders, including other dragons. One of the most well-known wild dragons was Cannibal, who was named for his habit of eating other dragons. Cannibal was never tamed and lived independently on Dragonstone. He fed on dead dragons and hatchlings, and his ferocity and independence made him one of the most feared dragons in Westeros. Living independently also means that dragons can become more reclusive and harder to find. They tend to seek out remote and isolated areas where they can live undisturbed. This makes them less of a threat to human settlements, but also more challenging to locate and claim by new riders. The rugged terrain of Dragonstone, the caves of the Dragonmont, and other secluded spots in Westeros have been known to harbor wild dragons. Interestingly, dragons' behavior can also be influenced by the presence of other dragons. They are social creatures to some extent and can form loose hierarchies when in proximity to each other. However, these social structures can be volatile, with frequent displays of dominance and territorial battles. The presence of multiple unclaimed dragons in an area can lead to conflicts as they compete for resources and establish dominance. Another fascinating aspect is the lore and myths surrounding unclaimed dragons. In many tales, unclaimed dragons are seen as both a curse and a blessing. They represent untamed power and potential, but also the threat of destruction. The idea of a wild dragon returning to wreak havoc on human settlements is a recurring theme in the stories of Westeros. This duality adds to the mystique and fear surrounding these majestic creatures. And when we look at Caraxes, we see another side of the story. Prince Daemon Targaryen rode Caraxes during the Dance of the Dragons. After Daemon's death, Caraxes became extremely aggressive and difficult to control. This shows how the loss of a rider can affect a dragon's temperament. And that's a wrap, folks. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of unclaimed dragons. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments what other topics you'd like me to explore. That's all for today, and I'll see you in the next one.